My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today we're fortunate to have as our guest Anne-Marie and Ed Stevens. Anne-Marie and Ed are the co-founders of Precise Portions, a company that's created portion-controlled dinnerware that helps guide both children and adults to eat the right amount of food in the right proportions. During the program, we're finding out why and how this innovative company came about. We'll learn about their approach to diet control and nutrition. And we'll also hear about some of their exciting current efforts, as well as promising upcoming and future plans. Let's start by meeting Anne-Marie and Ed and finding out about Precise Portions. Welcome. Really delighted both of you able to be here today.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes.
Before we get to your wonderful approach to diet control and nutrition, Precise Portions, I think it would be helpful just to hear a little bit about your backgrounds and how that led to the development of your company, please. Anne-Marie, would you please start?
Absolutely, I would be thrilled to do that. So I started life as a chemical engineer and spent about 15 years at Procter & Gamble doing innovation and new product development, test markets, national rollouts. In fact, I was one of the leads on the launch of Liquid Tide. This is decades ago, right? But it was just really thrilling to be able to apply my personal love of science in that way to making people's lives better in that sense. And then I went on to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania and got my my MBA. I've worked at Frito-Lay. I've done some retail work and consulting, and then decided no, we need to leave a mark on the world, and so this is kind of our passion, just based on our family history with pretty high incidence of diabetes. So that's kind of my story.
Interesting connection. Ed, your background a little, please.
So yes, I've always been interested in high performance, and so even when I joined the Marine Corps, I was focused on being the best that I could be, and I turned out to be the honor graduate there.
Congratulations.
But more importantly, continued on with my education. I got an engineering degree. I got a hold of my wife. That was a real bonus.
There you go.
That was a real bonus.
Put.
And so after the degree, joined Procter & Gamble also in the research and development area. And so we're really focused on solving problems for the consumer, being able to assess what gaps exist, and then filling that void with a creative and innovative type of product. In addition to Procter & Gamble, I worked at Avon Products, so that covered part of the manufacturing area. And interestingly, there's a small company that used to exist called Dracket. They were the inventors of Windex. Oh, sure. And so I have a patent for Windex, one of the Windex formulations. And it's been like that, but we have a high incidence of type 2 diabetes in both of our families, extremely high. And when it was time for us to transition to something else, we thought, let's do something that we really do care about, that we can leave a legacy. And so we took a look at diabetes and realized that type 2 represents about 90 to 95% of all diabetics.
Yeah.
And also it is really driven by lifestyle. And we took a look at the situation, and we felt that we could have some impact. And so we launched, one other program, but we fundamentally thought that Precise Portions was the way we could have the greatest impact on lifestyle.
Well, definitely you read in the news almost daily the high incidence growing and growing, unfortunately, of
and younger and younger.
So that was the seed, and then maybe just fast forward how things took off and started to get off the ground.
So if you're going to try to invent anything, you've got to know what's in the marketplace. And so at the time when we launched this line, initially, the products in the marketplace were unappealing, unattractive. They looked very industrial. you know, people would just take a plate and draw something, but there weren't any guiding lines per se, or education or behavior change components. It was just like, do this. And people were confused, you know, what's a non-starchy veggie? What's a starchy veggie? How much is my protein? What's a protein? I mean, basic questions like, what's a carb? You know, we fling these words around kind of like everybody gets them, but it turns out that most people don't get them. And then there's a compounding factor. Around this time when we were launching, physicians really, you know, with kind of the crunch on time, so a visit to your doctor's office is what, 15 minutes? And so they're busy, like, you know, checking your heart and your blood pressure, and there's no time for nutrition education in that visit. And so you're not walking out with a script that says, oh yeah, do this. And so people who were diagnosed would then go home, they would have their script for metformin or whatever the drug was, and then somebody would say, eat smarter, eat better. Well, what does that mean? And where do I figure that out? And so what we found with our family is they couldn't figure it out. And you could say, well, eat smaller, eat less. Well, eat less of what?
Yeah.
And so we ended up with a very confused nation. And it's further compounded by fad dieting. It's compounded by supersize me, supersize it, supersize. So you have like so much information and all of it incomplete. And so our job then was to take all of that and demystify, simplify, and really our focus, and one of the anchors in our design is to make this so visual that there is no more guesswork about what's a carb, what's a protein. I mean, we just like really make it simple. That's what I would say. How about you?
So one of the things we've come to realize is that no one wants to be ill, no one wants to be overweight, no one wants to be obese. When we take a look at the population, we've come to realize that there are blocks and pitfalls that people fall into, and that we needed to figure out a way to eliminate some of those blocks and pitfalls to make it really super easy, because people do want to learn, but not everyone wants to put the effort into learning. And so what we wanted to do was to eliminate, some of those, areas of friction, so to speak, that prevent folks from doing what they know they really need and want to do. And so in our designs, we try to eliminate the need to measure, things like that. We try to create more engaging type of product so that they would want to use it on a daily basis. And so that's really necessary to have to create behavior change and to develop good habits.
I think what's so appealing about your approach and the dinnerware that we're going to look at shortly is that it's not a fad, and that it's just promoting ongoing healthy lifestyle.
That's it. That's it. But I think a big part of that, and it keeps us anchored, is because of the incidents with our family members, we're actually high risk. And so that realization says we actually have to eat this way. And so we design products that we will be like proud to use every day, or if we have friends over, or proud to recommend. I mean, so this is like really personal. This is super personal for us. And so I think that helps us.
Right. As we're going to see, not only have you given a lot of work to the science behind healthy living, but you've created a product that's very appealing visually that you'd want to use as your everyday dinnerware.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
With the bonus of the guidance of how to eat healthy.
Exactly
So
right.
let's start looking at some images. And this one is nice. I know it gives an overview of the different components that people would find in a kit when they purchase your material.
Correct. The mom in the family really is the chief nutritionist. And so really, in order for the family to be healthy and to eat healthy, the mom has to be involved. We kind of have to go through her, because without that, it will not be successful. And so in particular, in starting the whole prevention mode of prevention of overweight and obesity, the key thing is to start out with the children. And so one of the things we did to initiate that is to create the show and tell line, which is right in front of us, to help mom to figure out exactly what are the right measurements, the volume measurements, without having to use a measuring cup or a measuring spoon. So all she's got to do is use the guidelines as we've created, and everyone will be in great shape.
And what better way, of course, to start any good habit is early and set that as the baseline, so you don't run into certain problems as you get older.
And you know what we find is that, of course, moms and dads, they all care about this, and we kind of focus in on moms because in most households, you know, that's kind of the chief nutritionist, right?
Yeah, sure.
But we find grandparents really worried about this issue, and they are vocal. They're like, man, I am so upset with the way my grandchildren are being fed. You know? And
Definitely
they
heard
take
that
action.
before.
They take action. And so we love grandparents. It's like, bring it on, you know?
And one of our key drivers is that it's pretty clear that prevention is a lot cheaper and much easier than intervention. And so we're really trying to push the whole prevention idea forward really, really hard.
And this is a nice image as an example of the guidance that you give to nutrition.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this particular product we actually use a lot with health professionals. So this is a double-sided tablet or worksheet. And so it really teaches menu planning, meal planning. So again, our job, we feel, is to have a product for health professionals who are teaching and coaching, and we support them. We have products like this can be used at home. Again, teaching, coaching, and so we really, our vision is to really be the dominant nutrition education lifestyle company in America. I mean, that's really where we're headed.
So one of the key functionalities of that pad is that before registered dietitians really didn't have a good tool to hand to transition their patients back home with. And so what this provides is a great learning tool in a classroom setting that then, you know, she can tear out a page and give to each individual and maybe like a paper plate, and then they can take that home with them to help them to recall and reinforce exactly all of the education they've been provided, and then to comply, start using it as a guide. And so many individuals indicate that they tend to remember more of what they're supposed to do when they have a, you know, a tool of sorts.
Definitely. And there's a nice example following up here. Gives you, in a simple format, one-page format,
exactly right,
an overview of what is going to go in, the amounts.
Yep. And so this we provide with all of our kits. What's key here is the great feedback we keep getting is the design is so seamless. And so we have to provide the legend. This is like the legend because the design itself it's just a design. It's like, you know, we hear people describing it as the vine or the leaf or the you know, and it connotes like all these great positive, you know, memories and impressions, and it's very fluid, but it has meaning. And so this is our kind of way of teaching the meaning. It's the translation of what that really means. And your guests will never know. I mean, that makes it really guest friendly.
And also we try to maintain a consistent set of guidelines. And so the whole notion is once a family uses frequently, they go to a restaurant, they go somewhere else, they'll recall, oh yeah, the upper half of my plate should be dedicated to non-starchy vegetables. The lower left is grain and starch, and the lower right is protein. And so it's consistent that way to the point where we want it to start to become a habit of sorts. Instinctively, they start looking for a non-starchy and that kind of behavior.
And not only that, as we can see with the end product here, but say when you're going out, by doing it so much at home, reinforces what's a proper amount.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So when you do order out, you can still make that transition,
You absolutely can.
starting with what types of foods, but then the amount too, you recognize, it's just this amount of protein I really need.
The other thing that's not here, it's on that disc. We call that our system disc, which is under that to-go plate. But but when we talk about healthy eating lifestyle, it includes healthy snacks. And so a lot of times, one of the biggest challenges we run into, or barriers, I would say, is somebody might look at the plate and they may say, it is too small. I'm going to be so hungry. Like, get that out of here. There's not enough meat. There is absolutely not enough meat. Get it out of here. No, I'm not ready. No, right? And so our job then is a little more challenging, but what we're trying to say is, no. It's not just like the plate size and the proportion. It's like we're now going to ask you to snack in between. So instead of like gobbling up, 10 servings for breakfast, we're going to say, no, have one. And then at 10 a.m., have part 2. And then like you won't be so starving at lunch. And then you're going to have part 3 at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And then you're going to have dinner. And then, depending on your lifestyle, you might even be allowed a little snack before you go to bed. And so that kind of transition to eating more frequently is not always articulated and not very well understood as a part of a healthy eating lifestyle. So we still have like kind of a current paradigm that says, I've got my 3 meals and this is not going to do it. And so our job is really to amplify the importance of snacking as a part of eating this way.
Because I think that ties in so well with what you hear as a common pitfall with people both eating too fast and too much, and their brain hasn't recognized that you're full already. So this way, when you spread it out and get used to that, much more satisfying, as well as extremely more healthy.
In addition to the mindless eating, as the dietitians call it, with people who are watching TV, what we wanted to do also, because what we wanted to do specifically is to provide the full scenario, which it's, eating healthy is more than just a plate. It's a system. And so we try to create a kit in every opportunity, with the kids line, with the adult line. And so let's say when an adult sees that 9-inch plate, they say that's not enough, but also there's fluids that they have to consume also. There should be a bowl where they can have some dessert, whether it be a fruit whether it be protein, whether it be a dairy product. So we want to provide a comprehensive picture of all that is part of the meal, as opposed to just a plate.
Just the meat.
right, exactly. That's a go-to for so many people. Well, let's move on. You referred to, and we see some products here of children starting out. So that's very attractive. Definitely at a young age can see that quite appealing. And
okay, the biggest problem we have with this plate is so many adults want this plate. In fact, we've had an adult purchase it, and then her son sent her back to return it. That's not enough food for you, he told her. So we have so many stories about this. And then here's the cup. And the important thing about this cup, and the dietitians all over absolutely love this cup, is it's 6 ounces. And so even like many yogurts are like 8 ounces.
Right.
Or there are so many things that are 8 or 12 or 16 or 20 ounces. And when we see our young children really consuming that much fluid and liquid, even if it's water, it's just a really bad or poor eating habit. And what we want is to say, no, it's 6 ounces max at a time. And just to begin that, it's a memory. It's memory. Where we're working out, we talk about muscle memory. We talk about the reps in muscle memory. Well, there's eating memory too. And drinking memory, and with children, we really need to pay more attention to that. So this is a 6-ounce cup, and each ridge is 2 ounces.
Nice.
And it takes all the guesswork out of, well, how much is 2 ounces? How much is 4? I will tell you that we were doing a show, and Dad comes up to our booth, and he's like, "Is that all? I'm going to bring my wife over." So he trots off. He trots back in with his wife. And he said, "I just wanted you to see," because it's always the other person. I just wanted you to see how much we should be feeding, let's say, Junior. And she said, that's not enough. And she strutted off. And that was the end of that story. But that's an example of like what we're up against in terms of healthy eating habits.
And this next image provides views with a nice overview of the different materials, a lot of educational, nutritional materials that you provide for children.
Yeah.
We think that this is really one of our most successful kits because it covers all aspects of education as well as the tools. One of my favorites are the nutrition flashcards. You know, back in the day, it was always like math flashcards, science flashcards, spelling flashcards. What we wanted to do with this particular execution was to engage the child with the imagery on one side, but on the back side are the health benefits of eating all of these foods. And also, what the cards also help to do is to represent the 6 sub-food groups that many adults really aren't aware of, like dairy, non-starchy, fats and oils, proteins, and starch, and that kind of a thing. And so we wanted mom and dads to really understand that these foods are really important with respect to the nutrients they provide and why these nutrients are important for the heart, for the brain, for the different organs. And it's really critically important, and they really love that. And also what we've done is to use one food per card, so it's not that complicated. You know, kids see one thing, they ask Mommy, what's that? Mommy says, well, that's watermelon, it's good for you, it'll give you, strong muscles, like a superhero or something like that. And we just want the child to walk away with the concept, oh, this is good food, or bok choy, this is good food, or something, it's good food.
And then just like with adults, you provide a simple one-page overview too, to demystify the whole process.
Exactly.
And I know you've worked very closely with a number of health professionals, dietitians, nutritionists, and we're fortunate to have a short video clip hearing from a couple of them.
That's terrific.
So let's segue, let's look at the clip and then come back and continue our conversation.
Fantastic, yeah.
Prominent registered dietitians and certified diabetes educators. Bernadine is a nutrition consultant with more than 30 years' experience. Robin works with the University of Michigan Health System.
I work with people every day who struggle with their weight. And our culture nowadays does not make it easy for people to stick to a diet plan. In fact, diet plans are ineffective.
We give them diets as dietitians, sheets of paper, tips that most people really can't see how to incorporate into their everyday lives. With precise portions, the dinnerware system is something that is, oh, I understand how to use this. I take it home. I can actually use it today. I don't have to study it.
It's amazing that something as simple as a plate can make such a positive impact on health. And I've seen it. It's very inspiring.
Many of us eat the right foods, it's just we eat too much of them. So the precise portion dinnerware system takes the guesswork out of how much should I eat in a correct serving amounts.
By just making the right adjustments, results can be seen within days. It's that easy.
The system is great. It's easy. It's mainly staying within the lines. And you can use it every day, every time you eat.
I love this system. By staying within those lines, people are able to change their health and ultimately change their lives.
That's wonderful to have that reinforcing testimony from professionals in the field who have seen many approaches over the years.
Yes.
Has there been, in addition to feedback from professionals and maybe others who have used it, any research done yet? Have you had that opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. What's really interesting is that around 2 years ago, nutrition researchers from the University of Cambridge and in the UK approached us to use our product line to test whether or not their patients would want to use portion controlled dinnerware, and if they did, for how long, how frequently, and what would be the positive impact of such a practice. It turns out that 2 years later, we received a summary just yesterday of how effective our nutrition tools were with respect to being very, very well appreciated, and also that the expected hypothesis was proved in terms of how functional these tools were and how useful they were and easy to use.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah, it was really pretty rewarding. But I have to tell you that our products have also been vetted by the American Diabetes Association.
Oh,
and so they've
wonderful.
been selling our products for many years. And so we totally appreciate and value that support. We sell to hospitals. Again, it's hard to get into those systems without the vetting. And so I would say that their professional kind of integrity and standard, they kind of run our products through those gateways, and we get through. And so it reinforces what our dietitians have said, the research, the behaviors that we see ongoing. So yeah, we feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the anecdotal evidence and testimony sort of falls in line with that.
Yeah, and it normally goes like, why didn't I think of this?
Then you know you have something.
Exactly.
Yeah, why didn't I think
That's
of
that's a
this?
recurring point that dietitians make, and they're really one of our targeted audience in terms of providing them with real useful tools they can pass on to their clients and patients. So.
What's the best way for viewers watching and those they know to find out more and get the product and just keep up with you?
Yeah, we always start with preciseportions.com, right? But we know people love Amazon, and so we sell on Amazon as well. So I would say those are the primary two places that they can easily access our products, yes.
And in January 2017, Wegmans supermarkets will launch their healthy eating campaign with our product line.
Oh, fabulous.
So we're really excited about that, and hopefully a lot of consumers will turn out and see what we're all about and what our product line's all about.
Nice, nice. Well, unfortunately, we have to wrap up. So much more we could have talked about.
Absolutely.
I had to ask you, but really appreciate the great overview you've given us. Terrific product. Can see how it's going to help many people, starting at a young age, to eat healthy and just promote a healthy lifestyle.
Excellent.
Thank
We
you very much,
appreciate
Jay.
the opportunity. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much, Jay.
All the best
Thank you.
with your
Appreciate
continued
it.
efforts.
Thank you,
Yes,
Jay.
thank you.
Also want to thank those of you for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.
This is why you get by on 4 hours sleep. Why you took a second job. This is why you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. And spend hours juggling the bills. This is why you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Now more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert today.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and expert advice.